Qudash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabaoth, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts. Could be said as a sound vibrational frequency, and it's also the prayer that the angels sing day and night and can remove any negative energy or ions from out of the airways and the ether. The ether is also known as the breath of life, you know. It is energy made up of ionized gases, you know. Yah, He, Va, He. The first Yah signifies divine masculine, the Father who art in heaven, Abba, the architect of the universe. He is signified as a divine feminine, Mother Nature, the womb of the earth, where mankind was created, impregnated, and molded, and formed. Mother Nature, the spirits of the wind, the elements. Va signifies mankind itself, you know. Yah, He, Va, which is the creation of the Elohim in the book of Genesis, known as Bereshith in Hebrew. Also can be broken down in other books as the generation of Isis, you know. In the beginning, Elohim, meaning plural, more than one, said, let us create them in our image. Words, they play a very key thing on people's perception, which you have to pay attention. Elohim is plural, means more than one. And keywords in that passage, us in our image. Us, it means more than one. It means duality. And back to He, which be Ana Chokmah, which means mother wisdom. And on the Hebrew tree of life, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see this, but the first one would be Kether, which is the crown. The second one, which would be wisdom, Chokmah. Ana Chokmah, which signifies a divine feminine, which means mother wisdom, you know. As above, so below. The macro prosophis above and the micro prosophis below, because we are the microorganisms in the host of the Elohim. The host, meaning that God is eternal, you know. What Christ said, you know, that's why it says the Christ. The Christ is a title. The Christ means the person Jesus. He had to become a Christ. He ascended from a lower state of consciousness to his higher state of awareness and unlocked the Christ consciousness. That's why he also says in the Bible, ye will be able to perform the things in which I have and even work greater wonders. The second coming in return is the unlocking of the Christ consciousness. You know why? Because in this apocalypse. Apocalypse is a great revealing. Revelations. That means to reveal something. That means a veil is being uplifted. You know, certain things are being removed from this plane. That strong delusion that people have been suffering, you know. From media, you know. Anything that can grasp your attention to alter your perception and make you believe certain things. The key things are these things, they play on your emotions, you know. And another thing on the Hebrew Sephiroths and Tree of Life, right here it says the whole person, the human body, the 7 planes. The first plane, and it has the colors of the chakras. It says the first plane is physical. The second plane, first plane would be red. Second plane, which would be orange, it says astral. Third plane, which would be yellow, which would deal with the solar plex chakra, which would mean mental. The heart chakra, which is green, is 4, which would be ego. The 5th chakra, which deals with its color is blue, it says intuitive. 6 would be casual, and 7th would be the spiritual plane. But what I was trying to say is how the media comes from a Greek god's named Media, one that casts spells. You know, spells are when you organize words, sound, vibrational frequencies, which people hear through their ears, one of their senses, which brings a thought into their head. Every thought leads to an action, but most thoughts are conjured up from an emotion. And right here it says self. It says the spirit deals with spiritual love and awareness, spiritual will and purpose. And then in the middle of that it says transpersonal. The soul. Now the soul deals with the will and love. And the I is in the center. And then it goes to personality, thoughts and feelings. These people with the media, when they alter your perception through these words, or put this idea in your head, you know. Angels are angles, entities are energies, you know. Anything could be conjured up and made from nothing. This is what I'm going to go into tonight, and I'm going to talk about thermodynamics and how things above influence the things below. So right now what I'm saying is, like, basically people are altering your perception through words, spells, to get your feelings worked up, to create these thoughts, these ideas in your head, which create illusions. Illusions can put you in a stronghold, because your final decision, when you make your you come to your final conclusion of what you want to do after dealing with these feelings and emotions, and then they turn into these thoughts, and then these thoughts, you know, you meditate on them, and then eventually they become actions, you know. So you have to be very careful what you're listening to. You got to have the spirit of discernment. Another word for discernment is decoding. Decoding. You have to see through the veil, you know, because you can be grasped into an illusion so easily, you know. But right now what I'm saying is, on the constellations right now, the sun is in Virgo. The sun normally moves with the seasons by the months. It should be in another horoscope right now, but the sun being in Virgo, it says a lot, you know. The Virgo deals with the woman, you know. Woman is a divine feminine, and the sun is a metaphor, you know, as a rebirth, you know. We are in a sun cycle right now. The sun is heating up. We know that the sun has an effect on all living organisms on this earth, you know. It makes things blossoms, you know. It uplifts them. The sun is a powerful key. The sun, Shemesh, you know, Shemesh is very key, you know. Shemesh, the sun, it deals with the ether, a direct energy, photon energy that has an influx. It's known as the central star of this galaxy, you know. Just like the moon has a rotation, the sun has a rotation. And when these heavenly bodies, stars, energies move into constellations, certain things happen. Now we know about Matthew 24. Says, how will you know the signs of thy second coming? Remember, I said the second coming is the return of the Christ consciousness manifest in you, you know. The elect are 12,000 out of each of the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. These are what people call star seeds, you know. The star seeds it's an eternal essence within yourself that is activated at a specific time based upon the constellations and planetary alignments. Everything has a time and seasons. Matthew 24 says, how will you know the signs of thy second coming? You will hear of wars. rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, famines, earthquakes, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. Earthquakes in diverse places is what they would call right now, global warming. Weather in places it doesn't normally happen, And right here, this is when you're about to see a big change. All of these events have to happen before the cleansing of the earth, Right here, talking about the seven thunders. It says right here on the fifth thunder, 4 great people will perish. Floods, lightning storms, tornadoes, landslides, hurricanes, hail in the summer, forest fires. Right here, forest fires. Children killing children. Children killing their parents. Rampant insanity and murders, mass shootings and uprising and drug addictions and demonic revivals parading themselves righteous. Elena, little girl, will come. El Nino. And the El Nino is what they call these storms that's coming. The elements of nature, They put everything right in your face, And another thing on these, in the holy tablets of these 7 thunders, it's also talking about right here, the third thunder. It says many new species, notations in animals, crossbreeding in species, death of frogs, honeybees, turtles, deformed humans multiply, genetic splicing and cloning. Keywords: genetic splicing and cloning. There's a lot of things going on with the genetics, They don't call them GMOs no more. If you look on the labels of your food, it's going to say bioengineered ingredients. It's a lot of stuff. The meats ain't even real no more. They are bioengineered, These are cells from certain things, and these are lab grown and created, which are putting in your body unnatural substances, Things that create this black goo, I know a lot of you probably heard about that circulating online, but they create these things. It's a nanotechnology, that can be activated by frequencies, EMS, energy, because guess what? Your body is made up of energy, electrons, protons, neutrons, Energy pumping through your veins is blood, ether, I was just putting together a dishwasher today at work, and I'm looking at the mechanical mechanisms of this thing, and I'm like, damn, yeah, man creates things, they put components together. When they put these components together, everything runs from wires that creates electrical charge. So then I start thinking about the veins in our body. Then I'm thinking about, dang, everything is installed with a program to function a certain kind of way. And I've been writing notes down for a while now. I said the human body, device, host, vessel, temple, technology. It's technique. So the same things with these man-made devices is the same thing that is within ourselves. We are technology that we need to connect to nature, earth, water, fire, air, those elements. But think about it, all of those elements are within us. We breathe air, The dirt, the earth, we was molded from the dirt. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, you go back to the dirt, Water is a vital thing for our bodies to function. Fire is that eternal flame, Eyes like a flame of fire, hair like wool, skin of bronze, copper, That's telling you something there. A lot of these are metaphors, allegories, parables, and figurative language. Now, technology, techniques, strategies, and methods to simplify your life or daily experience from experiments, trial and error, apps or software, programs, algorithm, rhythm, sequence, pattern, comprehend, components, pieces, collective whole, big picture, labels, category, area, separation, organization. It's how you label stuff. So this is how you label your body. When you think it, this is what the tree of life actually does. It basically tells you about the emotional components of your body, the energy fields in your body, in the title, in the label, and how they function in unison together, And then I was thinking about, when I was putting this washing machine together, I started thinking about trees. I'm like, the trees, the roots, the earth, the rain, fall, the absorbent, the water, the nutrients, the saps that goes through trees. Some of these trees actually have blood in them, A lot of trees hold a lot of water, Then they bloom, leaves fall off in the winter and the fall, then they resurrect and come back alive in the spring when the sun is reviving these things. Now we're going to get into the thermodynamics. Thermodynamic cycles in African theology and theory. Thermodynamic symbols, African culture, Congo. Ether name, Dikenga. Theology and theory. The four movements of the sun. 1. Kala, morning, birth, colored black. 2. Chakula, noon, the prime of life, colored red. 3. Luvimba, sunset, late life, death, colored white. 4. Masoni, midnight, rebirth, resurrection, colored yellow. And right here it goes into the 4 rotations of each one. It's always dealing with these 4s. Now the next one, Akan, Ye, Naim, Abode, Santan, Yi, Fari, Tati, Obi, Nate, Ase, A, Onem, Ne, A, Yis, Na, Obi, Natina, Ace, Nakosi, Nawa, Ge, Naim. This great panorama of creation dates back to time immemorable. No one lives who saw its beginning, and no one will live to see its end except Naim. And it shows this symbol right here. This one. Alright. Techowe Lusona. That is the African culture name, and then that's the ether name, Lusona. At the top is God, left is the sun, right is the moon, and bottom is a human. The sun, the moon, and humanity all have thermodynamic cycles established by God. Now this is the picture that it has for that right here, this one, Now, African culture name, Nuwapu, None. Ether name, 9 ether, No Po. Now listen it up. 9 ether is death. 9 ether in death is 6 ether. 6 ether in death is 3 ether. And eventually 9 ether resurrects again. 4 cycles. Revolution, 3 to 6. Origination, 6 to 9. Origination, 9 to 6. Evolution, 6 to 3. Now remember what I told you the metaphors in the Bible was a long time ago. 9 ether signifies Israelites, spiritual lights. Shemesh, children of Shem. Shemesh, the sun. The original name for people in that land were Ethiopian people. Not now today it says Ethiopian people. That was the original name and and for that land mass, you know. But we know that the continents was all connected, and we know that, you know, the land goes far beyond that, you know. That's all I'm gonna say on that, you know. And you know the sixth ether is, look at the numbers. 9 is an upward spiral. 9 is divine. 6 is a downward spiral, which is a 9 upside down, you know. 6 ether is basically spiritual death. 9 ether is spiritual life, you know, which is light, you know. And 6 ether and biblically would be Edom, the Edomite, the downfall spiral of man. This is where you get that 666 from. Downward spiral of man. That's why in the Yah, He, Va, He, for one, Va is the 6th letter on the Hebrew chart, because Va signifies mankind. Mankind in the downward spiral of man would be the 6, which would be the reversal of the 9. 9 upward spiral, 6 downward spiral, you know. You see, these are all metaphors. These numbers all mean something, you know. Anything with a numeral value can go to the letters of a name, you know, when you say these things. Alright. African cosmologies and theologies and theories and are replete with concepts related to thermodynamic cycles, studying the sun as a major source of heat and energy on Earth, and studying the daily cycles of the sun likely inspired the development of theories related to thermodynamic cycles. The ancient Egyptians acknowledged thermodynamic cycles by purifying 4 stages of the sun as Keper Re, Atan Re, Atum Re, and Amun Re. Other examples of thermodynamic cycles, so those names which you think is deities are actually just cycles of nature, you know. So thermodynamic cycles in African theology are the Gae Naim cosmogram of the Akan in West African, the Dekinga cosmogram, the Congo in Central Africa, the Lusona cosmogram of the Tekchawe of South Africa, which we just went over on the chart, and the circle of 9 ether of the Nuwapians in the African diaspora. The similarities between these African concepts to modern scientific concepts related to thermodynamics are astounding. In fact, the transformation or movement through each point of the Dekinga cosmogram is called Dingo Y Dingo, which means coming and going from the center. Everything has a rotation, an upward spiral or a downward spiral, you know. North Pole or the South Pole, you know. Everything is coming out. What did we talk about when we last went into the 7 Hermetic principles? Everything has an inflow and everything has an outflow. Coming and going from the center, which is similar in definition to the modern scientific term entropy, which literally means to turn into the center. Modern scientific concepts related to thermodynamic cycles consist of 4 thermodynamic processes of heat, addition, expansion, heat removal, and compression, which can be represented as the cycle of birth, life, death, and resurrection, or the seasonal cycle of summer, fall, winter, and spring, respectively. In modern science, the most efficient thermodynamic cycle for converting energy into work is called the Carnot cycle. converting energy into work. Currents, energy, currency. You work, you put your energy into something to get a currency. But, that's just a metaphor to add on to that. But everything goes hand in hand, But, called the Carnot cycle. The Carnot cycle is named from a French military engineer named Nicolas Leonard Sade Carnot, who was part of Napoleon's fleet during the conquest of Egypt between the years 1798 and 1801. In 1824, Carnot provided a successful theory on the thermodynamic cycle of heat engines in a book entitled Reflections on the Motive Power of Fire. Carnot died at the age of 36. He died at the age 36. Was 3 and 6. 9. Completion of the cycle. Death or rebirth. He died at 36 and is considered the father of modern thermodynamics. He's not really the father of modern thermodynamics. It means that he just took it, learned it from another culture, and brought it to his culture and presented it in his own way, And people took heed into that because who that person was in that specific time. Instead of them going to the source and learning it themselves, people always take something from one place and then bring it back to another place, and they look like they're the father of it. That's all that's about. But that's how things get passed down. The table on the next page compares the 4 thermodynamic processes of Carnot cycle to 4 processes found in African theologies related to thermodynamics. Alright. Right here. I'm about to go into that. Alright. Thermodynamics, Carnot cycle, expansion. Isothermal expansion. Constant hot temperature. Gas expands through heat absorption. Work is done on the surrounding environments. Nuapu. 9 ether dies becoming 6 ether, Tukulu fallen. Heat removal. Entropic expansion. Constant entropy expansion of gas until cool. Output. Inflow. Outflow. Works on surrounding environment. 6 ether dies becoming 3 ether. Lavemba falling. Everybody has their rise and their fall. What you are seeing is something falling right now, so something else can be reborn. Something is being torn down that creates strong illusions and kills, steals, and destroys. So the diamond in the rough can be brought to its rightful place, if you get what I'm saying. Alright. Compression. Isothermal compression consists cold temperature compression of the gas through heat loss. The surrounding environment begins working on the gas. 3 ether resurrects to 6 ether. Manzoni rising. Heat addition. Entropic compression consists entropy compression of the gas due to the surrounding environment. Inputs work on the gas, compressing it, causing it to rise too hot. 6 ether resurrects to 9 ether. Kala rising. The figure below synthesizes of all the thermodynamic cycles described. I'm going to show you a picture of it right here. See it? Alright, on to the next page. Thermodynamics is one of the subjects that students at all levels from elementary to postgraduate find challenging. The allegories, parables, and analogies related to thermodynamics found in African theology and theory provide effective mental tools for comprehending the subject of thermodynamics. For African blacksmiths, builders, masons, and craftsmen, it is necessary to apply the knowledge of thermodynamics utilizing heat and temperature to expand, contract, and transform matter into new desired creations. So what is the sun doing in this sun cycle, in this influx, as it's heating up? All of those solar flares are hitting Earth, They like EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, But they call them CMEs, coronal mass ejection, Coronal mass ejection. It has the opposite effect on what happened in 2019, which had the same kind of opposite name, but the same concept was being inflicted on humanity, if you get what I'm saying. Put two and two together, One was the delude, and one was to make rise again, And transform, mutate, That's why when they say those solar flares is going off, if they say an X flare is going off, guess what? It's unlocking an X chromosome in the DNA. And you know about the X-Men, what they was capable of. And remember, those 144,000 elect, those are the most high forces. Those are going to be the embodiment of the return of the Christ, because the Christ consciousness is going to be manifest within them that have this ability. They say 2/3 of the population is going to get cut off. There's 9 billion people on this planet and 2/3 get cut off. That's 6 billion, which leaves 3 billion with only 144,000 elect that get the concept, that are all in these different areas, because they all have their own region and their own people that are going to cleave to them, But it's to set the record straight, just so you know. I'm going to say that again. For African blacksmith, builders, masons, and craftsmen, it is necessary to apply the knowledge of thermodynamics utilizing heat and temperature to expand, contract, and transform matter, physical body, into new desired creations. The reality of who and what you are, the purpose and meaning of life, what happens after you die, and death, resurrection, and reincarnation can also be discovered by studying thermodynamics. It is known that the essence of you is a substance called DNA. Don't condemn me if I say this wrong. DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid. Let me see if I can show y'all the word. It's right. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Right there. If y'all could pronounce that. But that's the real word name for DNA. Therefore, at your essence, you are an acid. Acids, you chemically react with other substances. Now think about this. And elements, causing a transformation of the substance and element from one thing to another. So think about this. Earth, water, fire, air. You are the fifth element. So that means you control all of them. So when you go into the book of Revelation, when it tells you about the two witnesses and it talks about the nation of the spiritual lights, they were able to shut the heavens up and make dew when rain come or stop it from coming. And it talks about them lying dead in the market street for 3 days. That is talking about a metaphor of a spiritual death, but they rose to everybody's astonishment and they lived. And people, they wanted to get them out of here, but this is also a concept of why you were crucified. This is why you were scattered around the world. This is why you worked in yards and not got the fruits of your labor. This is why you were killed. This is why you were hung on trees. This is why a lot of you were burnt at the stake. That's why a lot of you were called witches, warlocks, and everything, because you always been connected and in tune with nature. Mother Nature, the nurturer. Calling Mother Nature a witch is like calling a female the bitch word. It's disrespectful. The divine feminine energy. And if the Most High said that you was created and molded from this thing, you think you not connected to this thing by you being the fifth element? Earth, water, fire, air, and all of them move through you? So you don't think that you can control them? We'll just leave it at that, You'll get it in the right time. But time is ticking. Time is short. This is 2023. The clock has been ticking since 2027. 2027 to 2024 to the next solar eclipse. Solar eclipse. Solar plex rising. And guess what? It makes an X across Mystery Babylon. Remember I told you about that X chromosome DNA? But look at the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. First letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Let's see something real quick. First letter of the Hebrew alphabet. What is it? The Most High said, I am the first and the last. What is the first one? A X. A X. It's an X, which is our left. I am Alpha and Omega. Alpha is a left. Omega is top. 22. The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Me, but you say Tav is Tav. So when you get done saying something and you consecrate it, that's what blessing means, to consecrate something. You consecrate it, you solidify it. You spoke it into existence from the I am that I am, the higher Ashar higher, from the eternal God within you, How do you think that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, how you think he was able to bless his son? They all, if you look at all the matriarchs and patriarchs throughout the Bible, they all gave out blessings. You know why? From the divine, eternal essence within themselves. Therefore, at your essence, you are an acid. Acids, you chemically react with other substance and elements, causing a transformation of the substance and elements from one thing to another. Fire and electricity also cause chemical reactions. The gas you breathe out, which is the ether, is no different from the exhaust or smoke from a fire. The excrement and waste you produce is no different from the ashes left over from a fire. Thus, what you call life is no more than thermodynamic cycles of the transfer of energy in a series of chemical reactions. Your thoughts or consciousness is the flow of electrons or electricity. That's why I said the ether is like the Wi-Fi you can't see, but it's connecting everything together that you connected to, that you can move. You just got to learn how to control your thoughts and your emotions. Concentrate your intent. Reflect it onto something. You can move it. You could be an airbender, You can move things with your head. If you focus on a cloud long enough and you think of rain, you think of snow, you think on something, you can produce it. And when 2 or 3 are gathered, more thinking the same thing at the same time, because they've been worked up with the same emotions that led to the same thoughts, guess what? It's done. It's a lie. That's the power. But let's keep going. Your thoughts or consciousness is the flow of electrons or electricity that occurs during the energy transfer, the thermodynamic cycles during the chemical reaction of life. You are a thermodynamic process. Your purpose is to create and transform matter and energy via your thermodynamic process, and you are in turn transformed by thermodynamic process. Earth, water, fire, air, human body, matter, electrons moving through you. Why you think when you get sick they gotta give you them electrolytes? You know? Electrolytes is just nothing but a compository of salts, components. Those salts are minerals from the earth, you know? That's why when you get sick, Mother Nature can heal you, you know? Because you have to extract the things from the earth that correspond to the things of the body that you are connected to. That's why it has the reaction it does on you. But guess what? Like I was telling people before, what you think is sorcery, the word sorcery comes from the Greek word pharmakia. Pharmakia, what you know in English, is pharmacy. What pharmacy means is drugging, diluting, giving you all these synthetic ingredients and compounds and making all this stuff that's supposed to allow you to get better. Why are you not getting better and you have to keep going back for more and more? It's not nature's cure. It's sorcery. That's what it is. So you have to use your magneticism. Why do you think the Bible was telling you when Jesus, he was able to heal people using the wet mud, the elements of the earth, you know? But if somebody popped up on the scene today and did the same thing that Jesus supposed to did 2,000 years ago, guess what they would call? They would condemn him to death. They would call him a witch. They would call him a sorcerer. They would call him a bunch of words that they don't even know what they mean, you know? They just be talking out their mouth, casting their own spell. But just like King Solomon said in the Psalms, you know, about the people that was after him, he reflect whatever that those that take crafty counsel against him, wish to kill, steal, and destroy him. He prayed that they fall victim to their own devices and gadgets, you know, and that their intent does not work on him, but work against them, you know. That's how you reverse the curse, you know. You speak that into existence. The Psalms are very powerful for that, and it shows you how each one of them work in the 6th and 7th book of Moses, which I spoke on before in older videos, you know. Alright, back to this. Where was I at? Comprehend these concepts of thermodynamics well. Each position on the thermodynamics diagram not only refers to a state of energy, but also mentality, personality. It's going back to the Sephiroth. What does it say right there? Thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings. That's why when you say I am, you speaking words of power into existence, that it will be done. It will be done. You speak it into existence, because if you believe, you can achieve, you know. Faith without works is dead. You could believe all you want, but you got to do the work. You believe on something, so you're going to act on it. You're going to build on it until that manifests into what it is, you know. But you just got to keep having that drive, you know, to fulfill that goal, you know. The faith that I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to build this house. I'm going to complete this mission, you know, with my hands. I am. Let's leave that at that. It says, each position on a thermodynamic diagram not only refers to a state of energy, but also mentality, personality, and spirit. Applying the science of thermodynamics provides you with the ability to transform anything at will. At will. At will. The practical application of thermodynamics enables the practitioner to figuratively create something from nothing, which is indeed a divine capability, which all the matriarchs and patriarchs throughout the Bible had. But now religion makes you feel powerless. They have you seeking and looking for something outside yourself that is within yourself. Even the Messiah told you that the kingdom was within. It's not something that's coming. You bring the kingdom that come. The kingdom on the Hebrew Sephiroth means Malchut. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Only thing that's coming is the New Jerusalem. And it talks about that at the end of Revelation. And it talks about this crystal and golden city with 3 entrances on 4 sides. For 3 tribes on this side, 3 on the other side, 3 and 3 on the back side, and each one of those gates, they have a different crystal stone. And if you ask me, then the angels measured and took the dimensions of this place that was being prepared to come to this planet. If you ask me, I would say that's a mothership, and it looks something like Wakanda with the technology that the days don't change. You just vibrant all day in life because you're around these crystals. This gold, you know, gold has a reaction to the body just like copper do. That's why you think they making all of these new technology with copper infused, you know, copper fits, you know. They're making copper bracelets with magnets on them to help your blood circulate for therapeutic things, you know. They're elements. Same things that they tell you is bad, but they want to use them to help you now. But this technology been around since ancient times, you know. I got books that talks about King Solomon harboring more copper than he did gold, you know. Copper's king. You know one thing about copper? I got bags and bags of copper. I actually saved copper because I know the significance of copper. And not only on my astrological chart, a lemon is my fruit of purification. Copper is actually my metal, so I know all about it. So and notice, any electrical charge that you get from any electrical device, you gotta use copper. Any computer mechanism to make it function right, or cell phone device, you gotta use a crystal or some type of salt mineral, something like the electrolyte. Same thing. In the body, the host, the temple, the vessel. Think I'm making this up? Alright. And that's it for thermodynamics. And you know, it's a lot going on in the world right now. As you can see, everything is aligning as said, you know. You know, like the book Luke, I believe it's Luke or Mark, it talks about Jerusalem being trodden down to the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. But you got to think about this thing in Revelation when it says 2/3 will be cut off. So basically, and then you got to think about Ezekiel, and then the book of Daniel, and then it talks about the valley of Jehoshaphat, and all these armies aligned together. Then you got to go back to Revelation when it talks about the war of Armageddon, and you got to think about this. It was already tensions before this new event just escalated to this, you know. It was already tensions was high. So this didn't just happen coincidentally. This happened by design. The currency is already collapsing. This is the last straw. This is why money is just being given away and just passed around so easily, you know. Millions and billions of dollars, because the money don't even have no value. But as long as the nation is up and running and it still look good, but behind the scenes everything is collapsing. Just like it says in the book of Revelation, that great nation, the whore that sitteth upon many waters, like I said before, you know what nation has a base on everybody's land, but it's symbolically talking about that statue sitting over there in the middle of New York, you know. That was a gift by the French. And look at the history to where that date back to Babylonian times of Ceramicus and Nimrod, you know. So it's not by a coincidence, you know. And it goes on to say, that great nation, all the merchants at sea, they watched her burn and fall. All the nations that got drunk off of her wine. See, that's another metaphor. When they say got drunk off of her wine, it's talking about her substance, her wealth. Remember, she gave all of these people, foreigners that came over here, grants, but the people that was here, you know, that they was oppressing, that the book talked about that they was going to do from the end to the beginning, that they took crafty counsel on and wished to destroy, you know. So they always put other people in front of them, you know, to make it seem like, you know, they were above them, you know. It's a psychological mind thing. But that great nation, that whore that sitteth upon many waters, it gave you so many metaphors in the book of Revelation. It said spiritual Sodom in Egypt. You already know, you know, what happened in Sodom and the rights they produce over here. Egypt is the Greek word for Egyptos, you know, which just means bondage. So it's basically telling you a place where people were in bondage, you know. Not just physical bondage, mental bondage as well, you know. Even down to the Willie Lynch effect, you know. It's all metaphor. Spiritual Sodom in Egypt, that great whore that sitteth upon many waters, which has a twofold meaning, you know. Actually sits upon many waters and actually has a woman, you know, that dates back to Babylonian times, that was given as a gift by the French, that sits upon one of the biggest cities in that nation. So think about that. That's not a coincidence. You know, more people got these weapons than you think, you know. Iran, they have nuclear capabilities. Korea has nuclear capabilities. They're all trading weapons behind the scenes. Russia, North Korea, Iran, all of them are already aligned. So when one takes action, that's why they didn't jump into the conflict with the other ones, but because they have a lot of vested interest in that Pacific region. But now that this other region, you know, this state that was created, you know, believe it or not, they're the same people as those other people that converted, you know, in 700, what is it, AD, the conversion, you know, that went all the way to Germany to where it is in the current state today. So you just do your historical, you know, research on these records. You know, this has been talked about plenty of other time. I'm just putting it out there, and I'm just choosing my words wisely, because you know how these people playing when words, you know. I'm not into promoting nothing. I'm just sitting back watching it unfold. I'm a watcher right now, you know. But remember, this was already being talked about from the beginning of 2017 to 24. And only one group of people have been talking about this thing and said that these events were going to transpire. So you think it's coincidentally at the end of 2023? It's just that Pacific nation it is just happening to right now, while this other conflict was going on with this other nation that started on a 2/22/22, I believe. At the same time, the constellation of the Pluto returned, which Pluto symbolic to Hades, which means death and rebirth. So all these things led up to this, which goes into Matthew 24. How will you know the signs of thy second coming? You will hear of wars, rumors of wars, nations rising against nations. You know. Then when it talks about the earthquakes in diverse places. So in the middle of these conflicts, you have weather phenomenon happening that is out of control, you know. So it's not just one thing you got to worry about. You got to worry about all these other things, but it's the cleansing of the land. This is what the Most High said by He's sweeping the wicked off the land. It's a picking off process. So nobody's going to get rest, unless you sealed and, you got that divine spark in you, It's just like in the Egyptian story when, Pharaoh wouldn't let the people go, and then Moses told him to put the lamb's blood over the door, and then when the destroyer came at night and killed every firstborn, they wasn't touched, So it's the same thing. That's what the spiritual seal is. It's that blood over that doorstep, So history repeats itself, so you always wait for the path. The path is there. Nobody knows the time and the hour. You come like a thief in the night, But you will know by the signs and the wonders. They're here. X marks the spot, which is LF, X, chromosome, DNA, solar flares, sun rays, Shemesh, children of Shem, children of light, spiritual light. Salah, I'm out.